What is power? Look around you, and the world will give you 1,000 false answers. It will show you the clenched fist, the loudest voice in the room, the sharpest tongue in the argument. It will show you the armor of indifference, the shield of cynicism, the sword of criticism. We are taught that power is a weapon of force, that influence is a battle of wills, that success is a fortress built of stone and steel. But what if I told you that the greatest empires in human history were built not with a sword, but with a handshake? What if I told you that the most persuasive argument is not a shout, but a whisper? And what if I told you that the most powerful, most disarming, and most effective weapon in the entire arsenal of human interaction is the one you have been taught to see as a sign of softness? Your smile is your strongest weapon. And today, you will learn how to use it. This is not about being nice. This is not about being a people pleaser. This is about being effective. This is about understanding the fundamental physics of human nature. An argument creates resistance. Criticism creates resentment. A demand creates defiance. These are the brute force tools of the amateur, and they almost always fail. They are an attack on another person's ego, and the ego's first and only instinct is to defend itself. When you argue with someone, you're not trying to convince them. You are trying to conquer them, and no one wants to be conquered. But a smile, a genuine smile, operates on a completely different level. It is the ultimate act of psychological jujitsu. It does not meet force with force. It redirects it. It bypasses a logical, defensive, argumentative brain and speaks directly to the ancient, emotional, and far more powerful heart. A smile is a message sent in a universal language that every soul understands. It says, I am not a threat. It says, I see you. It says, I am open. And in a world where everyone is walking around armored and defensive, a genuine expression of warmth is a revolutionary act. It is a strategic disarmament. The person who is expecting a fight, who is ready for a battle of wills, is completely and utterly disarmed by an unexpected expression of kindness. Their walls come down, their defenses lower, and for the first time, they are actually able to hear you. This is the secret that the masters of influence have known for centuries. Abraham Lincoln, a man who led a nation through its most brutal and divisive war, was a master of this art. His political rivals were often fierce, arrogant, and ready for a fight. A lesser man would have met their aggression with his own. He would have entered the arena of argument and tried to prove them wrong. But Lincoln knew better. He often began his most difficult encounters not with lists of demands, but with a disarming story, a humble remark, and a genuine, warm smile. He did not try to win the argument. He tried to win the person. He understood that you cannot harvest honey by kicking over the beehive. He knew that a drop of honey will attract more flies than a gallon of gall. His smile was not a sign of weakness. It was a sign of his immense strategic strength. It was a key that unlocked the goodwill of his fiercest opponents, allowing him to build a consensus needed to save a nation. Your smile is the physical manifestation of your inner state. A fake, plastered-on smile is a cheap tactic, and it is spotted a mile away. It is a manipulation, and it breeds distrust. But a genuine smile, one that comes from a place of real confidence and positive regard for others, is an irresistible force. And that begins with your mindset. You cannot broadcast warmth if your inner world is a landscape of cold cynicism. You cannot radiate confidence if you are riddled with insecurity. The work, as always, begins within. You must become the kind of person who can smile genuinely, a person who seeks to understand, not to judge, a person who looks at the good in others, not the flaws, a person who is so secure in their own value that they have nothing to prove. This is a foundation. You must first build the inner state of warmth, of confidence, of empathy. You must believe that cooperation is more powerful than conflict, that connection is more effective than conquest. You must see the world not as a battlefield of competing egos, but as a network of potential allies. And once you've cultivated this inner world, once you see every person not as an obstacle, but as a potential partner in the great project of your life, your smile becomes the key. It is the key that unlocks the door. But a key is useless if you do not have the courage to step through the doorway you have just opened. So what is the next step? What is the second weapon in this arsenal of silent influence? It is the art of listening. The world is full of broadcasters. People screaming their opinions, their desires, their demands. Everyone is transmitting. Almost no one is receiving. To become a master of human connection, you must do the opposite of what everyone else is doing. You must learn to listen, not to just be silent while you wait for your turn to speak, but to listen with an aggressive, predatory focus. To listen with the same intensity that a detective listens for a clue, that a strategist listens for a weakness in their opponent's argument. When you truly listen to someone, you are giving them the one thing they crave more than anything else in the world, the feeling of being important. You are telling them, with your undivided attention, you matter, your story matters, your ideas matter. In that moment, you are the only person in the world who is truly seeing them. And that is a gift so rare, so powerful, that will create a bond of loyalty and trust that no argument could ever build. The amateur tries to win people over by being interesting. The master wins people over by being interested. Ask questions. Ask questions about their passions, their struggles, their dreams, and then be quiet. Let them talk. In their words, you will find the keys to their kingdom. You will find their motivations, their desires, their fears. This is not a manipulation. It is a diagnosis. You cannot solve a problem you do not understand. And you cannot influence a person you have not taken the time to truly hear. Dale Carnegie, a man who built a global empire on this single principle, knew this. He once told a story about a dinner party where he met a famous botanist. For hours, Carnegie did almost nothing but listen, captivated, as the botanist spoke of exotic plants and horticultural experiments. At the end of the night, the botanist told the host that Carnegie was one of the most brilliant conversationalists he had ever met. Carnegie had barely said a word. He simply gave a man his full, sincere attention, and in doing so, he made that man feel deeply, profoundly important. This is the currency of human connection. It is not about what you say, but about how you make people feel. And the single most important feeling you can give another person is the feeling of their own significance. Remember their name and say it often. The name of a person is, to that person, the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Give sincere, honest appreciation, not cheap, transparent flattery, but the genuine recognition of a person's strengths and efforts. And as you master the art of what to do, you must become a grand master of what not to do. And the first, the last, the ultimate rule of influence is this: do not criticize, do not condemn, do not complain. Criticism is a fool's game. It is a boomerang that you throw with all your might, only to have it circle back and hit you in the face. It is futile, because it puts a person on the defensive and usually makes them strive to justify themselves. It is dangerous, because it wounds a person's precious pride, hurts their sense of importance, and arouses resentment that can last a lifetime. Any fool can criticize, and most fools do, but it takes character and self-control to be understanding and forgiving. It takes a true leader to see a mistake not as an opportunity to condemn, but as an opportunity to teach. The builder does not tear down a crooked wall. He finds a way to straighten it. When you approach people with this philosophy, with a smile that disarms, with listening that validates, with appreciation that builds them up, and with a complete absence of criticism that makes them feel safe, you are not just making friends. You are creating an environment where people want to agree with you, an environment where they're open to your ideas, not because you have logically proven them to be right, but because they feel emotionally connected to you as a person. This is the art of changing minds, not by attacking them, but by inviting them to join you on higher ground. And in this environment, a miracle occurs. The walls of ego crumble. The fires of resentment are extinguished. And the person in front of you, who was once an opponent to be conquered, becomes a partner to be collaborated with. You have not forced them to change their mind. You have created a space so safe, so respectful, and so positive that they have been given the freedom to change it themselves. This is not domination. This is leadership. This is true influence. This is the ultimate secret. The greatest power in the world is not the force of your own argument, but the depth of your own empathy. It is the ability to momentarily step out of your own ego, to see the world through another person's eyes, to understand their desires, their fears, their deep human craving to be seen and to be valued. The entire arsenal we have discussed The disarming smile, the aggressive listening, the sincere appreciation, the discipline to withhold criticism. They are all simply different facets of this one single, luminous truth. This is not a set of tricks to be performed. It is a philosophy to be lived. It is a conscious, daily choice. The choice to build a bridge instead of a wall. The choice to ask a question instead of making an accusation. The choice to offer a hand instead of a fist. For years, you may have been told that the world is a cold, competitive battlefield, a place where you must be hard, cynical, and aggressive to survive. You have been taught to armor your heart and to sharpen your tongue. And what has it brought you? A life of conflict, of misunderstanding, of lonely victories that feel strangely like defeats. Today, you are being offered a new way, a path of greater strength, of deeper influence, and a more profound success. It is the path of the quiet warrior, the silent leader, the architect of human connection. It requires more courage than any argument, more discipline than any criticism, and more strength than any display of force. It is the courage to be kind in a world that is often cruel. It is the discipline to listen in a world that is screaming. It is the strength to build others up in a world that seeks to tear them down. The laboratory for this great experiment is your own life. The next conversation you have is your training ground. The next person you meet is your opportunity to practice. So, the journey begins now, with your very next interaction. Will you meet it with the old, blunt instruments of argument and criticism? Or will you unsheathe the most powerful, elegant, and effective weapon you have ever possessed? The choice is yours. The power is yours. The world is waiting. Go out there and win them over